are Cuz the Crow live at Occupy Gardens, Queen's Park. This is Potluck. And we're live and broadcasting. So I just got here and I'm going to mingle. Got some music over there. Good afternoon. Good morning for me. How are you?
Who's on the other side of the lens?
Morning.
Separated from us in space and time.
Oh, we got food, right on. Nice.
Hello to all future viewers.
And occupied viewers, right?
You too are being watched.
We're all being watched. Who cares?
What do you think of appraisal degree?
Beautiful. Hey, how's it going? Where is Robin Hood?
It's a beautiful day in Queen's Park.
Isn't it?
A beautiful day to vandalize some earth with our garden.
I come by here and take pictures. I de-weeded a couple of times, you know. I de-weeded a couple of times, you know. We do our part, stop by and.
Yeah, you know, I'd like to learn what to remove so that I can, like, there's a couple community gardens that I sort of have enough of a connection with that I can go by and do some work on them, you know, when I have time, but I don't because I don't know what is weeds and what isn't, like what's wanted and what isn't, and I don't know how I can contribute without disrupting anything. And I think there's a lot of people like that with a lot of different sort of types of work.
Gardens, yeah, there's the gardens, they just let it go wild. They let all the weeds go naturally. They don't pick any of them. But like this garden here, when we planted it, there were no weeds.
You know what we should do,
so
actually? It'd be easy
see what
to
you plant and then take out what we didn't plant.
Well, it'd be easy to assemble a little, like, display board of, like, these are, you know, little
these are good. They
examples
suck
of
up the
different
water.
things. Like,
Yeah,
remove all of these. That would really help.
Exactly.
That would really help. Then you'd never have to actually go and wrangle people to weed stuff because everybody would just come around and be like, oh, I'm going to take a couple
My
of
mom's
those,
a great
some
gardener.
mint,
She
and
learned from the Italians,
weed
and the
it.
Italians learned from the natives. So my mom's really good at gardening. So yeah, you learn from somebody, and somebody learns from somebody. Especially if it comes from the people, from the land. You got it firsthand. Yeah.
Well, it's no wonder this kind of thing is illegal because it's a big economic threat.
Yeah. I was actually fairly lucky with that.
You make me laugh. Right on, brother. Thanks.
I'd like to hear only the reason you talk too much now.
Oh, is that a big bag of what? Oh, jeez. What is it? What is it?
No, but I'm seeing food, so that sort of thing.
Oh, dude. Smell it. Interesting. You don't know? You can't tell me. You're just sitting here eating, aren't you?
I don't know what it is. I just told you it's food. I gotta keep the flies and
Keep the bugs away. Still.
Some of it, and then we don't have to bring it back.
come on, man.
Eat it. It'll be here for a while. You know what I'm saying? It'll be here for a while.
Yeah, I've seen that updated.
I want to go mingle. Must be something I like.
Okay, yeah, no, I know, like,
Good a while I get some munchies. Whoa! No way. No way. I just knocked that over, eh? Stay for the burger meat. What's the matter? You can't answer questions? Hi, Katie. How are you? I made it. Oh, good.
Better?
Oh, way better.
Oh,
yeah.
good.
Oh.
Good
Thank
to see you. Jamie's
Good
my
to
friend
see
Bree.
you. Hi, Reed.
Jamie, you live stream?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Live stream.
In the garden, right
What
on.
do you mean? This is live on the internet. Right?
Oh, what up, internet?
Bambuser, yeah. Internet.
What channel is it? It's not.
Yeah, it's Bambuser.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can always download it to live stream, but we got to work that stuff out
I
with
know,
Mao
I
and
know.
Shagger. Yeah.
Look, we won't get into that today.
No, no.
Today's for fun,
For
not
fun. Too
not
many
for
headaches.
drama
That's
and
over in the
politics.
past. For sure. For sure.
Yeah, dude. So this guy came with a truck,
Really?
and and pulled up the back of his truck and
Dump some soil.
Yeah.
Nice.
I guess. Do you know Seymour? He works at the Y. And he's like into food stuff. He saw this guy had an ad on Kijiji saying he had a bunch of extra soil. So he called the guy and said, "Can you just bring it to Queen's Park?" And the guy was like, "I don't think so," because like he was like, "What do you mean?" You know? He was like, "It sounds shady." So Seymour came with him and was like, "No, I'll bring you," you know. And then he got here and he was really leery and he was kind of like, "What are you guys doing here?" And so I talked to him and then he was like, "All right."
There we go.
Yeah, it was
Get a little
sweet.
help from my friends.
Yeah, it was
and
awesome.
The more friends, the better.
Yeah, it was great.
Small
Super.
world. When you spread a little word, yeah,
Mhm,
we get
mhm.
things accomplished for sure. Look at Fred working.
Oh yeah.
Freddie, smile. You're on. Cause the Crow's channel. How you doing, brother? You gotta lose some of that belly, huh? Sorry. I know. I'm a mean man. Morning. Morning. Good afternoon.
Sorry.
It's okay. That's from the right angle. Can't take a joke? How's your wife and my kids?
Probably,
I don't know. Maybe I'm blunt, too blunt. Our garden's looking good. Any manure in there? Do you know?
In this soil, probably not. Probably just for topsoil.
Yeah, it would be a bit darker, fresher.
But that don't matter.
So what are we doing, spreading it?
No, you're coming up too far.
How far do they need?
She only wants to go this way. Why? A little square.
New square. And I got $50 in there. If you find it, let me know. We'll split it. I hear music. Let's go. That's interesting. It's interesting. Whatever. Any instrument I see, I pick it up and play it. No doubt.
Yeah, no, totally.
It's always a good experience. We learn till the day we go.
treat the garden as the same thing. It's free open space, it's a site, and anybody can come and contribute. It's not just agriculture. Most of our spaces in cities now are like private spaces. They have their own private gardens. It's very small now. To open up space, you just have mass participation, collaboration. There's really no rules or restrictions. It's like we send out like suggestions.
On your
we're here under the tree over there in the shade, and the topic is...
And we're going to be talking about the food system and how it works, who controls food in the food system, how it's governed, and how you can make a difference in policy and action in changing
Oh,
food.
walk on my feet. I'll walk on my feet. Sorry.
So join us over here.
Hi, Michael. How are you? Jamie, we're live streaming. Anything to say? Good to see you, brother. Sometimes best not to say anything. Hi, Vincent. How are you, my friend? You're live on Candy Camera. Hi.
Wonderful glasses you've got.
Oh, thank you. I have about 6. Well, I'm getting my real glasses soon, but I usually, you know me, right? I got 6, 7, or 8, right?
Well, they're very beautiful ones, those ones.
Oh, thank you.
Trendy.
We having a good time? Oh yeah, smiles everywhere. Look at that. The beautiful people. Right on. Yeah, just kind of walk, mingle around. Thank you.
Yeah.
I like your hair.
Thank you.
That looks wild. Wish my mom would do that.
Oh, well, just buy her a tube of Manic Panic from Shoppers Drug Mart. Spread the revolution.
Excellent. When she's sleeping, I'll do it myself.
That's right, it just washes out. Just comb it in and wash it out.
And it washes out with water.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Maybe. You have to watch it when it's raining because you can get a green face.
Morning, huh? Good, good. How are you, big guy?
Is this live stream?
Yes, it is. Yes,
Oh, it is. No,
Yes,
good.
sir.
Kidding.
Yes. So, how are things?
Very good.
Very good, huh?
I'm just learning here about TorontoCultivate.com, where they take people that live in Toronto. If they have a piece of property in the back or front, and they could, the people that can from Cultivate.com could come in, and they'll turn. I don't know. See, they'll turn a plot like that, which is just nothing backyard,
Right.
and they turn it into a thing like that with
Beautiful
all
garden.
all the produce. And here's another example of how they go in and they turn it in.
Beautiful.
So where's Kara there? That's Kara there.
Yeah.
She's with Cultivate.com. There's a number of people that work here as interns on and here, there's more here because I show you what they produce. Look at this. This is the type of thing they get vegetables like that, and then every week they harvest the vegetables and they divide it within what they call the shareholders, or the people whose backyard it is, or some of. Look at the radishes and beets and all the tomatoes and greens. It's fantastic.
Beautiful. Fantastic, yeah. And fresh. And no chemicals.
Look at this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, where could you get stuff like the fresh, organic, and it's
And
great.
no chemicals, no
chemicals.
preservatives, nothing. Yeah, excellent.
How long have you been on the air?
I just got here. So,
Okay,
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Well, there's a
Cultivate
it's
TO, okay.
CultivateTO.com.
.com, right.
It
So,
used to be called something else, but now they call it CultivateTO.com. There's Occupy is having a session over there. I think it's on food security.
I should head over there too. That's good.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
CultivateTO.com. Yeah.
Yeah, Cultivate.
I will definitely help.
Did you get the? Could you see the?
Yes,
the logo and everything?
yeah. They can see it, and then I'll punch it in later. Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
That's Karen there.
Hi, Karen.
Oh, Fiona, sorry.
Okay, well, hopefully we still have
Oh, hey,
that many brain cells when we get to here. Right? Nice to meet you. How's the crow, Jamie? occupied town. So that's
We got Occupy live stream.
so it's on, and
Where
we're
did you
going to
graduate
spread the
from?
message.
Guelph.
In what?
Guelph.
Anthropology.
Right on. I used to live out there. Kitchener, Waterloo, Guelph, Brantford. 2 years.
Surprisingly,
Beautiful.
activist-based area. Like
Really?
when I was at Guelph, they just started the urban farm just out by the Arboretum.
How many years ago was that?
Maybe two, and I was there when they started the organic agriculture program too, which was amazing. Took some courses there. And they really had to fight for that. It was amazing because they get so much of their funding there from Monsanto and Bayer and those guys. And they were pressuring the university to shut down the organic agriculture program. So, yeah, it made me fight for it basically and start to.
It's good to see. Good to see. We got freedom fighters. Yeah, we can't let Monsanto do that. And it's craziness because we're walking around like sheepies. We call them sheepies. They're all dead. Thanks for the talk. I'm going to head back to the LA group. Okay, nice to meet you. Hold on, wait a minute. There's a picture over here. 1 second. Don't move, ladies. Don't move. Pause. Please and thank you.
We were trying to just get it in the ground. Why don't you help us to put it in?
Need some muscle.
It's happening right now. The banner has been raised. Food and water security are human rights. Human rights.
You got it.
Human rights.
Stop the mega quarry!
Stop mega quarry. Stop the mega quarry.
Why are you hiding from the camera? She's hiding from the camera. Hey, Johnny.
Notice the pattern that they're walking for gardening.
Yeah, that's been there for a while. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I come here at night. Usually I check on it and I take pictures. Yeah.
So it's been a cross pattern like that?
Yeah. For the beginning. Yeah.
So you're getting this historic moment?
Yeah, it's all down, Johnny. Yeah. Yeah, it's all down.
Coming to you live.
Hmm?
The mainstream media does not want you to know
Exactly.
what this gentleman is just videotaped.
You tell him, Johnny.
Come here. I'll whisper it to him.
You hiding from my camera? You got that Jamaican or Jafaican shirt? Beautiful.
Kensington Market shirt. I like it. Except for the one that I didn't buy when I was in Ghana.
Guyana. I went to Jamaica and I got one in Jamaica.
Oh, yeah?
Looks like Jimi Hendrix shirt. And I play guitar like Jimi Hendrix. It's a beautiful day. So we got a group going over there. I should go see them.
My name is Matthew. Tomatoes from my garden. Always a great thing for me.
And I'm Darcy, and I tried my dad's cherry tomatoes from his garden the other day.
Okay, sure. Just like that. Don't move it, right?
Okay, this morning I guess I had an amazing banana, peanut butter, strawberry, mini seed, spinach smoothie. That was awesome. Jim John?
for a few minutes.
Okay.
I'm going from scene to scene. I'm sorry, I'm recording a documentary right now. It includes some very improv elements, including a zombie chicken. So just pausing for a moment and saying, this is a historic moment. What you're talking about it, how you're talking about it, being recorded, broadcast on universityoftruth.com. And we're working on creating an idea of perpetual peace right here, right now, starting today. So this is a historic moment, filled with historic people who have taken it into their own hands and not passed their power to someone else to solve their own problems. And we'll pass that torch to everyone so that they don't wait around for rescue. Reach out, start, make a difference in their life. Everyone.
Oh yeah, there. Anybody wants to try? It's really dense. It has cacao beans and broccoli and mango and apples. Wow. Oranges, but feel free. It's dense.
Okay, yeah. So the first thing, we're starting off really broadly and asking kind of a question of like, what do we mean by when we say the food system, right? So we have this little diagram that we're just going to pass around. And as you can see, like you can't even read it and it doesn't matter, but because the point is the visual is that it is so complex and that all of the different aspects, how interconnected they are, is kind of the gist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take it at the moment.
By gut feeling that it's complex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't need that.
Right.
When we talk about a system, it's thinking about from where food is grown till when we eat it, you could say, and in that system, so starting from agriculture, but really you're starting in what's going into the soil, and in food today is you're starting with inputs into agricultural systems. So the people that make the fertilizers, pesticides, sometimes where that comes from, which is oil. So a really very complex, deep system.
Yeah. So even as you're passing that around, I think we can start looking at the next one, which is a simplified version of the Canadian food system. So it has, like Darcy said, it starts with input supply. So that includes anything like pesticides, like compost, like anything that goes into growing food, and then we look here, and there's primary agriculture, and then processing, and then it kind of goes from there.
Sure. So the system in the last few decades is really controlled at these different levels. So at your inputs into the agriculture and service companies, in the in the food processing, as well as in distribution and in grocery or retail, there tends to be a few companies, corporations, conglomerates that control each of these areas. There's about 3 or 4 in each area. So Monsanto, from the beginning that we talk about a lot, or in retail and grocery stores, there's 3 big companies which have a lot of the brands underneath them.
Yeah. So for example, using the Canadian example, in retail, there's an oligopoly where it's basically 4 companies that control 78% of sales. So even though we have all of these different stores with all of these different names, most of them come under Loblaws, Sobeys, Metro, and Safeway. So we have those 4, but most of the other ones we see are owned by the same people who own one of them. And then the for example, in processing, like one company, Archer Daniels Midland, controls 47% of flour milling in Canada. So like half in one country, in one company. Two firms control 73% of beef packing. Two beer companies control 95% of beer sales. 1/3 of farms account for 90% of production. So that's just, it shows how we've gone from having like a high number of smaller farms to a lot more concentration in larger farms and less of them. Over time, the largest farms, which is considered $5 million or more per year in revenue, are accounting like for more and more share of that production. So not just having less, but even concentrating it more in like really big ones.
So, the food system being like this, can you think of problems with the food or with the food system in general? Like, what are some of the issues that we're concerned about with wherever it comes from, how it's distributed?
There's no right answer, like there's any number of problems that we could potentially identify, right?
We don't know like who grew our food. It's the simplest one.
Yeah.
One important point I think is what we eat. Normally, we have to avoid again with those foods if it's all not that's one example that I personally aware of. The social food really baking sells for about $800. Shipping costs is about $2,500. But what you pay will probably go so much. What they get out of it is what requires physical service and stuff.
That is honestly the issue. I was so angry that like initially when I first came in, the government being able to limit us what we can tell distributors to tell us our product is modified. Unlike Europe, where they can't do. Some told me that they can't sell something that has been modified in Europe. So that made me so angry, which means it's going all organic. So I'm going to change the way I eat food. Don't eat corn anymore. I avoid anything with corn syrup in it. Just about.
Please speak up. The creator gave you a voice. Use it. I'm a singer. Use it. Come on. We can't hear you on live stream. Please, if you can, do us a favor. Speak up. Don't be shy.
Thank you.
We're here for a reason.
So, a few others that come up often in kind of critiques of the food system are that it uses too many chemicals. Some people feel that it uses too many chemicals, that it encourages the mistreatment of animals in terms of factory farming, that it perpetuates unhealthy diets, that it ignores the hungry, like it doesn't ensure adequate distribution of food, that it fails to provide a decent living to farmers and other workers, just mentioned, and as we already talked about, that it is like largely controlled by agribusiness and corporate interests. Yeah. Okay, so this one concept that has been introduced by Tim Lang, he's kind of a food expert from the UK back in the mid-90s, as a response kind of to all of these problems, but that he feels come under the umbrella of the corporate control. And like the lack of ability for consumers or people to participate in the food system is the concept of food democracy. So it's pretty obvious, right? It's just the concept of democracy, but applied specifically to the food system. And so it's like a framework for looking at how we can make the food system more responsive to human needs, which is theoretically what it is supposed to be designed to do. And it's based on the principle that people are not just consumers, that we are citizens, and that we have the power and should be able to exert the power to control the food system ourselves. And that is kind of, that concept is known as food sovereignty. So you'll hear lots of like their food security and different terms, but the idea that focuses really on the control in the hands of the people is like food sovereignty, kind of one of the goals of food democracy.
So I think like media is selling what they want to sell to our people, to us. Like, I don't think we never ever cooked from scratch. Like imagine 5 years old, they don't know what is bean. Like I got bean on their farm, and they said, "So what do you do with this? Like should I eat it?" And hard dry bean. I said we have to cook it for about 2 hours. Like really? So yeah, that's all like more like a systemic problem, and we
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
kids think it comes in cans with the Dora or Simpson on it, and alphabet, exactly, alphabet pasta and the meatballs. There you go. But not only kids, like mature people, like our age. Like no way.
So you think about like this concept brings it back to the people rather than the control just by the corporations that we were talking about, and the idea of food citizenship, another term related, is that we're more than consumers. Even though we're buying food, that's not the only way that we relate to food or that we can change food. So like the concept of voting with your fork or voting with your dollar, like choosing to buy something or not buy something, that's more as a consumer you can make that choice. But food citizenship is that you have a role as a citizen to play in this democracy and in a broader political understanding, and having that vote with either your democratic vote or some other broader change in how you do your life as a
So what we want to look at is the various ways that like we can exercise our food citizenship, right? So one of those ways is that we can try to affect changes in policies, right? In policies that determine what can and cannot happen within the food system. So one of the major barriers to policy change, like we're familiar, there's environmental policy, there's all different types of policy. So when we talk about food policy, it's an extremely complex and disconnected number of policies. So right now, like currently in Canada, we're going to use the Canadian example. There is no government body or any type of overarching legislation that directs or has authority over the Canadian, like the whole Canadian food system. So there really is no food policy to speak of. Nor are there any like provincial equivalents to that. So rather, there's like a jumble of policies and programs that are often contradictory because the responsibility for food lies in so many separate departments, each with a different mandate, trying to do different things, none of which are to actually make sure we have a healthy food system. So each level of government controls different aspects of the food system, and within each level there is any number of departments and ministries that control it. So just for the federal example, the Food and Drug Act is the primary legislation governing like safety and nutritional quality of food. It governs so labeling, advertising, standards, fortification, food additives, chemicals, and that type of stuff. Then, so there's the Food and Drug Act, but then there's these 3 federal bodies that have direct authority to use that act. which are Health Canada, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, and Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada. So supposedly, according to their website, they play complementary roles. But what we find when we look more into it is that they are actually pretty much totally uncoordinated in their actions, and so they often end up being contradictory to each other, not working with the same goals. And there's, like, I have a list here of 12 other branches of government with food-related responsibilities. I won't review them, but that gives you kind of an idea of the state of things on the federal level.
Okay, yeah, in the provincial government, we have the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs. It's actually good. The word food is in there now. It didn't used to be. So it generally concerns itself with regulation, development of farm service sectors, as well as food safety, mostly animal, like meat, dairy, eggs, research, also exports from Ontario, producers, and Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care, Ministry of Natural Resources, Environmental, Public Safety, Environmental Standards. Ministry of Health sets priorities and policies, and oversees the food service guidelines in health and health promotion, hospitals, post-secondary schools, college, wherever food is sold or taught. Education as well, of course. And something the province also does is they set the public health rules for all of Ontario, but then the municipalities, of course, there's 444 municipalities in Ontario. Toronto is just one, which is the biggest. And they each have public health departments, and they take those rules. They sometimes make up their own policies as well. So there's a lot of additional policies in Toronto, and their health inspectors go and regulate at restaurants and organizations. The medical officer of health for Toronto sets policy with the city council, and works to develop other policies which can either hinder our good food work or sometimes support it. So the city has a number of programs. It also has departments, again, like public health, licensing, zoning, environment office, planning, public works, and other departments which all have some say. So composting, for example, is related to public works, the environment office, and city pass draft. Here, you can pass that way. The city has a neat little graphic that the city developed and shows a number of the ways that they connect with food. So, for example, they fund a little bit, support student nutrition programs in schools. They promote breastfeeding through public health. They help support run festivals that sell food, provide space for farmers markets. So, in terms of thinking about how we affect change in policy at these different levels of government, we're thinking about the current political climate and where there's possibility to make change in some of these areas depending on the government. So thinking about strategies that we might want to use, we'll talk a bit about that. So the federal government.
Okay, so as we might guess, my opinion is that there's generally not too much potential at this time to be changing things at the federal level. But the positive is that food has entered the conversation. Like there are several kind of high-profile groups that have been working on national food policies. One of them is the Federal Liberals are working on one, the Canadian Agri-Food Policy Institute. One of the other ones is the People's Food Policy Project, which is, as far as I'm concerned, the only one that offers really significant changes and like transformative changes to the food system, and what's offered in the People's Food Policy Project, which if you want to look up is really great inspiration for looking at the type of food system we want. But the changes that are proposed in there are at this time really unrealistic under the Harper regime. So kind of looking towards the future and changing the political climate so that we could actually work on getting the People's Food Policy moving forward. And on the good side with that, the UN Rapporteur to the Right to Food visited Canada recently, and the Conservative government refused to meet with him. But Food Secure Canada, who oversaw the People's Food Policy Project, met with him, and he has since endorsed the People's Food Policy Project as what in his opinion should be the national food policy for Canada, which is pretty exciting.
At other levels, the provincial government is a little more promising because the election that happened not too long ago, food entered the conversation again, and all four parties promoted some sort of local food sourcing thing, especially for public institutions, the province funds, and also the and so the Liberals promised local food tax, and so they're currently under development of the food tax, and it's currently vague as to what it contains. It's not strong enough. The challenge here is to work to citizens to tell the government that we want a broader food system angle in this, to really think about animal welfare and environmental issues and health and poverty with the local source, with the local food system angle. So how strong we can get that legislation is really important. So Sustain Ontario provincial network and advocacy group is working to bring our positions to the government and working with groups across the province to say this is what we want that to look like. So we're just looking in that. Municipally, we have in public health in the city of Toronto has led the development of our food strategy, which is quite comprehensive and supports the development of food programs in many different areas. So public health is the lead with other departments on gradually implementing pieces of that. For example, right now we're working on a pilot project for mobile produce vending, which we'll talk a little more about, which would allow vegetables to be sold in trucks kind of across the city. We've also been working on other issues. And there's also a number of city councillors that are quite favorable to these kind of issues that we've been working with. So there's a lot more movement. The challenges at the city level are the narrow administration, lots board, doesn't take that much interest in any type of program. Much other way to say that. And we want Subway. We want Subway. So we work with other people. And in like the heavy enforcement of strict like policies that exist on like where you can put a community garden or street food or where you are selling farm fresh eggs and things like that. The city's very bureaucratic around a lot of these issues, and so it's kind of hard to move forward. So that's the kind of yeah.
I want to jump in because I'm telling really like legit when I'm listening all these things. I don't want to stop any policy changing process, but I want to bring attention to the fact that we can fight for changing policy for 10 years and it can be reversed in like one night without our president. So I'm suggesting to like just each of us as citizens to take our food into our hands. You know, that's what I want to suggest.
You're right on track with our presentation, with the workshop. So the very next thing on my notes here is, aside from attempting to influence policy, what potential is there and what strategies are being used to affect change in the food system. So a couple of examples that I have from internationally, just because there are recent things, big things that have happened. In New Zealand in June of this year, just last month, the Coalition to End Factory Farming blockaded an industrial food processing plant and called Mainland Poultry, and they for their treatment of their chickens, and they said that after decades of campaigning, right, like you said, that it hadn't affected the change. So the effect of their action, this is their quote, "Today's action has effectively shut down Mainland Poultry and halted the distribution of cruelly produced eggs to their suppliers." So that's like a really strong example of just like, intervention that made it impossible for that system to function. Another one of the examples of those was in March of this year that just passed, and anti-GMO protesters shut down the California office of Monsanto. Again, kind of a similar situation where they occupied the office and their entire business was shut down for a day, which doesn't seem like a lot, but that's, in terms of business, a day's business lost was really worrying for them. So what the group said is that, they did this and they got so much press that it raised awareness in so many other people, like that's their way of doing a big action, but that also inspires smaller actions before people know what's going on. And another great example of that is if people are familiar with the urban agriculture in Detroit that's happening, basically with the economic crisis, in 2008 and even before that, the Detroit relies a lot on manufacturing, and so their economy was doing really poorly. Their something like half the house, a huge percentage of the houses became vacant because people lost their houses with mortgage issues. So there's all this space being unused, and so the people in Detroit, they didn't ask permission, they didn't go through any channels, they just started planting food on these vacant lots around these houses, and it started off small as just kind of people doing it, and now it's grown hugely into like the main kind of theme in their city now, and now they are looking at they are interacting with policy at this point, but it all started by just the people taking action. So there's a documentary called Urban Group that they're interested in. It's really, really interesting. And then also there's obviously our People's Food Garden, which most of you probably know, planted on May 1st without asking permission from any authority, because we feel Occupy Gardens, we feel that we as the public should not have to ask for use of public space that's not being used.
Okay, so we are going to look at these two approaches, policy and action, and break out into two groups to discuss an approach to taking action. So, okay, I want to describe that. So we're looking at the concept of a food desert. So a food desert is an area where residents in a community don't have access to food because there aren't places to source or buy food in the area. There's a number of food deserts in Toronto. For example, about half of the city lives not within 1 kilometer of a grocery store, so access to food is difficult, especially without the transportation methods in priority neighborhoods in the city, especially outside of downtown. There's a number of areas where there's no access to food because, yeah, because it's
sure. Like, well, has anyone heard of the concept of food deserts? Is it something that's familiar or something that seems confusing? The idea is that like a lot of the inner suburbs of Toronto, like it used to be a lot more like middle or upper middle class families with cars, right? And the idea is that you can drive to a grocery store. But as the demographics have changed, a lot of people now don't have cars because they either choose not to, but mostly because they can't afford them. And so the idea of the food desert, right? It's like there might be a convenience store where you can buy food, but it's expensive and it's not as healthy. Or you have to drive and you don't have a car and you can't. The transit system doesn't go to you. All of these barriers to accessing appropriate food, which means healthy food or food that you can afford or culturally appropriate food. So the idea of a food desert is that you're trapped on your little island and you can't access what you need.
In Detroit, it's worse than here, where they have it's separate. There's the opposite. The inner city has less fewer grocery stores, and they have a lot of party stores with beer and maybe a couple apples sometimes that are definitely not local. So, yeah, this is just can be problematic in different ways, and that's maybe why they started to grow food on their own. So our two groups, I'm going to talk or lead a discussion with you about looking at policies that need to be changed. So is there a policy that can help this situation? There's a number of policies that we can think of that might, and I'm going to focus on one specific example that we can use, which is to create change zoning laws that would enable, for example, this mobile vending that I mentioned. So right now the zoning laws in the city are restricted so that you cannot sell food in other ways. It's difficult to sell food, say, bring a truck in with produce and just go up to the building and anybody can come and buy fresh off the shelf. So if we were able to do that, that would be a solution or at least a partial solution to the problem. So what we're trying to do is simply change the wording in the zoning law to allow that. So what we're going to look at is strategies. If you wanted to do that, how would you get the city to make that change? What kind of strategies or activism could you do to get the city to change that?
And then the group that I'm going to be leading is we're going to look at the exact same scenario of the food desert, but we're going to look at other ways that we could address this without directly trying to change laws or policies. So yeah, I guess we'll just kind of. Do you want to take your go under that tree?
Okay.
The policies.
Yeah. Do you people come with me, or do you want to just split?
I think people can choose. Yeah, I guess you can choose what you're most interested in, or what you know least about, or what you know most about, whatever you prefer. Just the choice is to be talking about what ways to influence policy change to address that situation, and then I'm going to look at ways to change the situation that don't necessarily involve any policy changes.
We're just going to take a few minutes to do this, and then come back and share, and that'll be about 10 So like 10 minutes?
I think 10 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, so starting over here.
Okay, so we're going to take a 10-minute break, and we will be back.
In policy.
Refreshment. Trail. I'll be back. Not. Whoa, wow.